Step back into the sweeping drama of North and South, 1985-1994, the epic saga that captured hearts with its gripping portrayal of love, loyalty, and the turbulent times of pre- and post-Civil War America. While fans remember the unforgettable performances and iconic characters, the series also carries a somber side. Several beloved cast members have tragically passed away, leaving behind a legacy of talent and unforgettable moments on screen. From stars whose careers were just beginning to those who shaped the series' enduring charm, we take a heartfelt look at the actors we've lost, celebrating their contributions and remembering the magic they brought to this legendary drama. Johnny Cash, born February the 26th of 1932 in Kingsland, Arkansas, was 53 when he portrayed the radical and morally unyielding John Brown in North and South, 1985, a role that seemed to channel the same inner fire and tension that defined his personal life. On screen, Brown's obsessive commitment to justice and revolutionary zeal mirrored Cash's own lifelong battle with inner demons and public scrutiny, giving the performance a raw, almost autobiographical intensity. Cash grew up in abject poverty, the youngest of 7 children, and endured the tragic death of his older brother Jack in a sawmill accident when Johnny was just 12, an event that haunted him for decades and became an emotional undercurrent in his music and acting. He struggled with feelings of inadequacy, the weight of rural Protestant morality, and the need to reconcile personal ambition with family responsibility, while the pressures of fame, touring, and recording compounded his struggles. In his adult life, Cash's battles with substance abuse, multiple arrests, and turbulent relationships, including a famously rocky marriage, were as public as his successes. Yet these challenges only deepened the emotional resonance he brought to his performances. Despite these hardships, he maintained a tireless work ethic, producing chart-topping albums and captivating audiences worldwide, blending the persona of the Man in Black with a deeply human vulnerability. Cash's later years were marked by health struggles and profound personal loss, notably the death of his wife June Carter in May 2003, only months before his own passing on September 12, 2003, at age 71. By then, his estate was valued at roughly $60 million, yet the truest measure of his legacy lies not in monetary wealth, but in the transformative influence of his music, the authenticity of his public persona, and the enduring emotional impact of his life story, which combined grief, redemption, and unflinching honesty into a singular cultural imprint that continues to resonate decades after his death. Kirstie Alley was born on January 12, 1951, in Wichita, Kansas, and at 34 she stepped into the role of Virgilia Hazard in North and South, 1985, embodying a woman whose moral fervor and fiery independence made her unforgettable on screen. Virgilia was more than a Southern belle. She was a force of defiance against social conventions, a woman whose emotional volatility and passionate convictions mirrored Alley's own restless and often turbulent spirit. Her early life foreshadowed the intensity she would bring to her roles. Born to a working-class family, Alley endured a childhood shaped by strict discipline, economic constraints, and the lingering shadow of parental conflict. The sudden death of her mother in a 1981 car accident left an indelible mark, plunging her into profound grief that would ripple throughout her personal and professional life. Alley's journey through Hollywood was as dramatic as any plotline she inhabited. She wrestled with substance abuse, particularly cocaine, during periods of insecurity and self-doubt, and later turned to Scientology, a controversial spiritual framework she credited with helping her navigate fame and personal chaos. Her weight became a public obsession. Her candidness about struggles and opinions on the entertainment industry drew both admiration and scorn. Yet she retained an almost magnetic allure, commanding screens with a presence that was impossible to ignore. Beyond North and South Alley's career included iconic television and film performances that cemented her as a household name, punctuated by moments of both scandal and triumph, including contentious award show appearances, outspoken celebrity feuds, and advocacy that sometimes polarized fans. By the time of her death, her estate was valued at approximately $40 million, encompassing properties, investments, and royalties that reflected decades of relentless work in television and film. Yet it was the intangible legacy, her defiant spirit, her willingness to reveal personal vulnerabilities, and her enduring cultural imprint that continues to captivate. She passed away on December 5, 2022, at the age of 71 due to colon cancer, leaving behind a life story, equal parts glamour, tragedy, and resilience. Patrick Swayze was born on August 18, 1952, in Houston, Texas, and at 33 he took on the role of Ori Main in North and South, 1985, portraying a Southern gentleman whose nobility, charm, and moral integrity made him a touchstone for romantic heroism on screen. Ori's internal conflicts, his devotion to family, and his struggles with love and duty mirrored Swayze's own blend of vulnerability and physical grace, a duality that defined his career. Raised by a dance instructor mother and a building contractor, Father Swayze's childhood fused discipline, artistic exposure, and athletic training, yet he endured significant setbacks, including a devastating knee injury that ended his football aspirations and a near-fatal horseback accident that threatened his dance and acting pursuits. Personal tragedy was a recurring theme. He navigated the pressures of fame, injuries, and industry scrutiny while sustaining a marriage and raising a family, embodying resilience that translated into both his performances and his public persona. Swayze's breakout roles in Dirty Dancing and Ghost showcased not only his acting range, but also his ability to transform personal adversity into artistry, captivating audiences worldwide with charisma, physicality, and emotional depth. His dedication extended beyond performance, encompassing advocacy, mentorship, and careful stewardship of his career choices. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at around $40 million, reflecting decades of professional success, strategic investments, and the enduring value of his cinematic legacy. He passed away on September 14, 2009, in Los Angeles at age 57, following a 20-month battle with pancreatic cancer, leaving behind a life marked by artistic brilliance, personal courage, and an influence on popular culture that continues to resonate, immortalizing him as both performer and icon. Olivia Cole, born November 26, 1942, in Washington, D.C., was 43 when she portrayed Mom Sally in North and South, 1985, embodying warmth, wisdom, and quiet strength that contrasted sharply with the turbulence of her private life. Cole's upbringing in a politically aware African-American household exposed her early to issues of racial inequality, social justice, and the need for perseverance, experiences that informed the dignity and subtle intelligence she projected on screen. Her childhood was not without hardship, navigating subtle prejudices, witnessing societal inequities, and negotiating her place as a Black woman in mid-20th century America instilled a sense of resilience and keen perception. Cole's career was groundbreaking, yet fraught with challenges. She became the first African-American woman to win a Primetime Emmy for her performance in Roots. Yet she endured personal heartbreak, including the collapse of an interracial marriage at a time when society offered little support or understanding. Hollywood's systemic barriers and the constant struggle for meaningful roles in a racially biased industry only heightened the sense of vigilance and discretion in her personal life, which eventually led her to seek privacy away from the public eye in Mexico. Cole's later years were marked by reflection and quiet dignity, far from the glare of fame. Yet she continued to mentor young performers and advocate for artistic integrity. Her death on January 19, 2018, at age 75 from a heart attack, closed a life that had blended remarkable professional achievement with personal sacrifice. Though her net worth was modest, estimated at $1 to $2 million, her cultural and artistic legacy transcended financial valuation, leaving an indelible mark on television history, inspiring generations of actors to navigate a complex intersection of race, talent, and perseverance, while remaining true to their vision and values, embodying the kind of resilience and subtle heroism that defined Mom Sally herself. David Carradine was born on December 8, 1936, in Los Angeles, California, and at 49, he assumed the role of Justin Lamotte in North and South 1985, a Southern aristocrat whose outward elegance and charm concealed a deeply manipulative and violent nature. Justin was cruel, cunning, and unpredictable. A dark foil to the more virtuous characters in the miniseries, and Carradine's portrayal imbued him with a magnetic menace that left audiences simultaneously repelled and captivated. Carradine's real-life story often paralleled his on-screen intensity. Born into a legendary acting dynasty, he witnessed family tensions and artistic pressures from an early age, experiences that shaped his often volatile temperament. His career was punctuated by substance abuse, legal troubles, and publicized conflicts with directors, co-stars, and the media, painting a portrait of a man both gifted and self-destructive. Tragedy, scandal, and risk were constants. Failed marriages, estranged family relations, and a lifelong struggle with addiction shadowed his achievements, while his dedication to martial arts and unconventional roles carved a unique niche in Hollywood. Carradine's death on June 3, 2009 in Bangkok, Thailand from accidental asphyxiation shocked the world and ignited widespread speculation and sensational media coverage, underscoring the enigmatic aura that defined his life. Despite a career spanning more than 200 roles, including cult classics and mainstream hits like Kill Bill, his net worth at death was estimated at a modest $500,000, a testament to a life consumed by passion, personal demons, and artistic obsession rather than financial accumulation. The cultural imprint he left, his influence on action cinema, his embodiment of anti-hero archetypes, and the lingering fascination with his tumultuous life remains a complex and compelling legacy that continues to intrigue fans and historians alike. Robert Guillaume, born November 30, 1927 in St. Louis, Missouri, was 57 when he stepped into the role of Frederick Douglass in North and South 1985, bringing a commanding presence, intelligence, and moral authority that gave profound weight to the historical figure he portrayed. Guillaume's early life was steeped in hardship. Abandoned by his mother and raised by his grandmother, he learned from a young age to navigate adversity with wit, perseverance, and self-reliance. These formative experiences shaped the empathy, discipline, and nuanced understanding of human complexity that became hallmarks of his performances. He confronted systemic racial barriers throughout his career, pushing boundaries in theater and television, and refusing roles that lacked depth or dignity, forging a path for Black actors in an industry long resistant to equitable representation. Guillaume's personal journey included both triumph and trauma. He suffered a debilitating stroke in 1999 that threatened his ability to work, yet he returned to acting with remarkable resilience, demonstrating an unwavering commitment to his craft and to the stories he wanted to tell. His professional achievements, including multiple Emmy Awards and a Grammy, were tempered by the challenges of navigating fame, health crises, and societal expectations, yet he maintained an integrity that few could match. Guillaume passed away on October 24, 2017, at age 89 from prostate cancer, leaving an estate valued at $5 million, the though the true measure of his influence lies in his contributions to culture, his advocacy for authentic representation, and the doors he opened for generations of performers. His life story embodies a fusion of intellectual rigor, artistic courage, and personal perseverance, leaving behind a legacy of resilience, dignity, and transformative impact that continues to resonate in the arts, education, and the collective cultural memory. Robert Mitchum, born August 6, 1917, was 68 when he played Patrick Flynn in North and South, 1985, embodying the stoic, understated heroism of a character whose quiet courage mirrored Mitchum's own enigmatic presence. Flynn was loyal, morally steadfast, and deceptively powerful in his simplicity, reflecting the layered persona Mitchum cultivated over decades of Hollywood fame, where charisma and defiance became his trademarks. Raised in Bridgeport, Connecticut, Mitchum endured a turbulent childhood shaped by poverty, his mother's untimely death, and frequent relocations experiences that forged a resilient and independent spirit, but also seeded a lifelong streak of rebellion and detachment. As a young adult, Mitchum's brushes with the law, early exposure to hardship, and a penchant for risk-taking defined a life as dramatic off-screen as on creating a mythic aura that both helped and hindered his career. Personal tragedies and controversies ranging from alcohol struggles and public arrests to the pressures of sustaining a multi-decade career in an unforgiving industry tested his capacity for endurance, leaving indelible emotional marks that quietly informed his performances. Mitchum confronted these challenges with a characteristic blend of stoicism and dark humor, translating personal adversity into professional authenticity, whether in film noir westerns or epic miniseries, solidifying his reputation as Hollywood's archetypal anti-hero. He passed away on July 1, 1997, at the age of 79, due to complications from lung cancer and emphysema, leaving an estate estimated at $10 million, a tangible reflection of a career built on both talent and cultivated mystique. His enduring legacy is not only the body of cinematic work he produced, but also the cultural imprint of the rebellious, morally complex male figure he embodied so convincingly, influencing generations of actors and continuing to define a certain archetype of masculinity and resilience in American cinema. Mitchum's life, full of contradictions and quiet heroism, remains an exemplar of how personal trials, charisma, and professional craft can intertwine to create a lasting artistic mythos. Hal Holbrook, born February 17, 1925, was 60 when he portrayed Abraham Lincoln in North and South, 1985, a performance that fused gravitas, subtle melancholy, and moral authority into a character that commanded both the screen and the imagination. Holbrook's Lincoln was more than a historical figure. He was a man burdened by the weight of a nation on the brink of collapse, a portrayal that resonated with audiences because it reflected Holbrook's own methodical, deeply human approach to acting. Off-screen, Holbrook's life was shaped by profound early loss. He was orphaned as a child and raised by grandparents in Ohio, who encouraged intellect and self-discipline, but could not replace parental warmth, leaving him to develop a reflective, almost solitary nature. These formative experiences were compounded by the economic hardships of the Great Depression, which forced him to navigate a world of scarcity and uncertainty while cultivating a fascination with performance and literature. As an adult, Holbrook faced personal challenges that could have derailed a lesser spirit: the constant pressures of sustaining a career in the performing arts, the loneliness of touring with his one-man Mark Twain show, and the quiet grief of watching colleagues succumb to time and illness. Yet he channeled these experiences into resilience and craft, meticulously studying roles, embracing rigorous theatrical routines, and quietly influencing generations of actors who admired his discipline and moral clarity. Holbrook's professional life was a study in the interplay of perseverance and artistry, achieving acclaim across stage, film, and television, while maintaining a humility rare among stars of his stature. He passed away on January 23, 2021 at the age of 95, leaving an estate estimated at $5 million modest for someone whose cultural impact was immense. Beyond material legacy, Holbrook left a spiritual and intellectual imprint. His embodiment of integrity, meticulous preparation, and empathetic insight into human character remain benchmarks for actors, while his Lincoln remains a template for portraying history with both gravitas and accessible humanity. And his life story is a testament to the quiet power of consistency, moral conviction, and artistic devotion. Jean Simmons was born on January 31, 1929, in London, England, and by the time she stepped into the role of Clarissa Main in North and South 1985, at age 56, she had already lived a life marked by both dazzling success and hidden turmoil. Clarissa was the epitome of grace and quiet moral authority, a stabilizing presence in a world of familial and social upheaval. And Simmons's performance captured that rare mixture of strength and vulnerability that mirrored her own life. Her childhood in wartime London left deep emotional scars. She endured the Blitz, witnessed widespread destruction, and grew up in modest circumstances that instilled both resilience and a persistent sense of insecurity. Even as a celebrated actress from the age of 15 appearing in films that made her one of Britain's brightest stars, she faced personal hardships, including 2 highly publicized divorces and a struggle with alcoholism that at times threatened to overshadow her professional achievements. These experiences gave her an extraordinary depth, visible in her subtle gestures and expressive eyes on screen, which audiences often felt were the embodiment of lived experience rather than mere acting. Throughout her career, Simmons navigated the treacherous waters of Hollywood with discretion, yet there were whispers of behind-the-scenes rivalries and the immense pressure of maintaining an image of elegance and composure. In her later years, she dedicated herself to television roles, theater appearances, and mentoring younger actors, showing that her artistry extended beyond mere performance. She died on January 22, 2010 in Santa Monica, California, after a battle with lung cancer at age 80. Her estate, valued at approximately $5 million, seemed modest compared to the cultural footprint she left behind, an icon of beauty, resilience, and sophistication, whose life behind the screen was filled with unspoken challenges, quiet victories, and enduring influence on generations of performers who admired both her talent and her grace under pressure. Gene Kelly, born August 23, 1912, entered North and South 1985 at the age of 73, portraying Senator Charles Edwards with a gravitas and authority that contrasted sharply with his early athletic and exuberant screen persona. On-screen, Edwards was pragmatic, calculating, and unflinchingly ambitious. Yet Kelly's inherent charisma softened the political figure's edges, revealing a complexity that mirrored the real-life contradictions of the actor himself. Kelly's early life in Pittsburgh was a mixture of inspiration and hardship. He lost his father at a young age, forcing his family to confront financial instability, while the city's working-class culture instilled resilience, self-reliance, and a disciplined work ethic. Dance became both escape and expression, offering him a sanctuary from grief and societal pressures, and eventually transforming him into the icon of Hollywood musicals, blending athleticism, grace, and charm in ways that revolutionized cinematic performance. But Kelly's personal journey was far from idyllic. He endured the collapse of marriage's public scrutiny and the slow decline of the musical genre he helped define, leaving him to navigate a shifting landscape in which creative identity, public adoration, and private fulfillment were rarely aligned. His response was adaptive and tenacious. He expanded into choreography, directing, and television production, continually reshaping his career, even as the industry's golden era faded. Kelly's death on February 2, 1996, at 83 from complications following strokes, ended a life that, despite its public acclaim, had been marked by private struggle and resilience. His estate, valued at $10 million, represents only a fraction of his cultural and artistic influence. He left behind a legacy of innovation, inspiration, and a body of work that continues to influence dancers, choreographers, and filmmakers worldwide. Kelly's life exemplifies the complex interplay of personal loss, artistic triumph, and the enduring human drive to reinvent oneself, showing that behind every dazzling performance lies a history of adaptation, perseverance, and profound emotional depth. David Ogden Stiers, born October 31, 1942 in Peoria, Illinois, brought a distinct intellect and controlled intensity to the role of Congressman Sam Green in North and South 1985, portraying a man driven by ambition and a meticulous calculation that often masked vulnerability. Raised in a middle-class Midwestern environment, Stiers exhibited early brilliance in music and performance, but his private life was characterized by introspection and careful self-protection as he wrestled with the societal pressures of his era and his own identity as a gay man. This tension between public acclaim and private concealment gave depth to his roles, creating characters whose sophistication was underlined by an unmistakable emotional honesty. His life was touched by quiet tragedies and moments of uncertainty, the struggles of maintaining a long-term career in both acting and music, the challenges of a society less accepting of his personal life, and periods of professional doubt that could have led many to retreat from the spotlight. Nevertheless, Stiers channeled these experiences into his artistry, becoming renowned for both his commanding stage presence and his nuanced voice work in Disney films, where he combined authority with warmth, intelligence, and subtle humor. Beyond the screen, he pursued conducting and musical endeavors, a testament to his multifaceted talent and relentless drive to create and inspire. He passed away on March 3, 2018, in Newport, Oregon, from bladder cancer at age 75. His estate, valued at approximately $8 million, reflects a lifetime of achievement, but the real legacy lies in the way he merged intellect, wit, and deep humanity, leaving a mark on both audiences and colleagues who recognized his rare combination of skill, sensitivity, and courage in confronting the personal and professional challenges of a life lived largely on his own exacting terms. Elizabeth Taylor, born February 27, 1932 in London, was 53 when she appeared as the mesmerizing Madame Conti in North and South, 1985, her presence on screen instantly commanding attention, radiating both the glamour and simmering vulnerability that had defined her life in Hollywood. In the miniseries, her character was alluring, enigmatic, and tinged with a quiet melancholy, a subtle reflection of Taylor's own experiences navigating the highs and lows of fame. Born to American parents in England, she grew up amid the chaos of divorce. Her mother's controlling nature and the pressures of early stardom thrust into films at just 9 years old and hailed as a prodigy while grappling with isolation and the loss of a normal childhood. Her adolescence was punctuated by intense scrutiny, a fraught relationship with the media, and the early awareness that her personal life would always be public property pressures that intensified her vulnerability and shaped her resilience. Throughout her life, Taylor faced devastating tragedies and shocking headlines: 8 marriages, 2 sons, near-fatal illnesses, surgeries, and the psychological toll of persistent media intrusion. Yet she transformed these struggles into a relentless drive for artistry, philanthropy, and self-reinvention, notably becoming a leading advocate for HIV/AIDS awareness and fundraising at a time when stigma was rampant. Despite a life peppered with scandal and heartache, she continually reinvented herself, navigating personal losses with a mixture of flamboyance and quiet determination, often retreating into her craft when public scrutiny became unbearable. When she died on March 23, 2011 in Los Angeles from congestive heart failure at age 79, she left behind an estate valued at $600 million, including her jewelry collection, real estate and film royalties, alongside a cultural legacy that endures in the indelible image of a woman who was as fragile as she was, formidable, whose private struggles and public triumphs became intertwined in the mythology of Hollywood itself. Her life remains a compelling blend of dazzling talent, shocking revelations, unyielding determination, and unspoken vulnerability. A narrative that continues to fascinate decades after her passing. John Anderson, born October 20, 1922, embodied the disciplined, steadfast William Hazard in North and South 1985 at the age of 63, portraying a character whose rigid sense of duty and moral fortitude masked deep personal introspection and the quiet ache of unspoken sacrifices. Hazard's strength and resilience mirrored Anderson's own upbringing in Clayton, New Mexico, where he was shaped by the early death of his father, the economic hardships of a modest household, and the responsibilities thrust upon him as a young boy, all of which instilled a formidable work ethic and an understanding of life's impermanence. His early exposure to adversity cultivated both empathy and an understated gravitas, qualities that permeated his acting, enabling him to portray authority figures with a quiet but compelling authenticity. Despite his impressive screen presence, Anderson's life off-camera was marked by solitude, private sorrow, and professional frustrations, as a career in Hollywood that spanned decades often relegated him to supporting roles and steady work without widespread recognition. He endured personal crises with discretion, navigating the slow erosion of opportunities in a youth-driven industry, quietly managing health concerns, and coping with the emotional weight of aging in a profession obsessed with vitality. Yet he channeled these challenges into consistent, disciplined performances that earned him the respect of peers and audiences who valued depth over spectacle. By the time of his death on August 7, 1992, at 69, Anderson had quietly amassed an estate of $1 to $2 million, modest but reflective of a life devoted to craft rather than celebrity. His legacy is subtle yet enduring, captured in the disciplined, nuanced performances he left behind, a testament to the actor who navigated the vicissitudes of Hollywood with unshakable integrity and a steadfast commitment to storytelling, revealing through his roles a man who understood both the weight of duty and the fragility of the human heart. Lloyd Bridges, born January 15, 1913, in San Leandro, California, brought to life the conflicted, pride-laden Jefferson Davis in North and South Book 2, 1986, at the age of 73, imbuing the role with a complex mix of authority, moral conviction, and emotional vulnerability that mirrored the intricacies of his own storied life. Bridges' childhood was shaped by financial insecurity and early responsibility in a working-class household, experiences that imbued him with resilience and a determination to succeed against odds that would later inform the discipline he brought to acting. Professionally, Bridges navigated the shifting landscapes of radio, film, and television over decades, enduring periods of blacklisting, industry skepticism, and the unpredictable instability of Hollywood challenges that tested his perseverance and creative ingenuity. His personal life was no less turbulent. The dissolution of his first marriage, the intense responsibility of raising children, including Beau and Jeff Bridges, who themselves became major stars, and the constant balancing of familial obligations with the demands of a prolific career created an undercurrent of tension that shaped both his private and public persona. Bridges confronted these challenges by immersing himself in work, mentoring his children, and embracing roles that demanded both emotional honesty and subtlety, leaving an indelible imprint on audiences and the acting community alike. He passed away on March 10, 1998, at the age of 85 from natural causes, leaving an estate valued at $15 million, the result of decades of professional dedication and wise management of his assets. Yet, beyond monetary wealth, his enduring legacy lies in the authenticity, professionalism, and emotional depth he brought to every role alongside a familial dynasty that continues to influence Hollywood. Bridges' life and career exemplify the complex interplay of personal struggle, artistic achievement, and generational influence, a testament to a man who transformed adversity into performance and whose imprint on American screen culture remains profound and multifaceted. Inga Swenson was born December 29, 1932, in Omaha, Nebraska, and at age 52, she embodied Maud Hazard in North and South, 1985, a role defined by warmth, resilience, and the steadfastness that made her character the emotional anchor of the Hazard family. Swenson's upbringing in the American Midwest shaped her pragmatic outlook and resilient spirit. But it was not without heartbreak she endured the sudden and devastating death of her son James in a motorcycle accident in 1987, a loss that profoundly affected her outlook on life and the choices she made thereafter. Her Broadway career, marked by a Tony nomination and numerous acclaimed performances, was juxtaposed with personal pain and the quiet contemplation that followed tragedy, giving her work a richness and gravitas that captivated audiences. On screen, she was admired for her ability to project strength, tempered with compassion, a skill honed over decades of navigating both professional rivalries and the intense pressures of live performance. Swenson retired from acting in 1998, choosing a life of privacy and reflection, yet she remained a figure of enduring influence, offering mentorship and support to younger actors while cultivating personal passions away from the spotlight. She passed away on July 23, 2023 in Los Angeles at age 90 of natural causes, leaving an estate estimated between $2 to $3 million. Beyond her financial legacy, Swenson's enduring contribution lies in her portrayal of complex, emotionally rich characters who embodied authenticity, moral courage, and resilience, a testament to a life lived fully despite profound loss, and a reminder of the power of subtlety, strength, and humanity in both performance and personal endurance. Though time has passed, the laughter they gave us still echoes. The cast of North and South brought joy to millions, and even though some of them are no longer with us, their performances live on. As we remember those we've lost, we also celebrate the legacy they left behind, one that continues to entertain and connect generations. Thank you for joining us in honoring these unforgettable stars. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tributes to the legends of television history.